Pioneers. We all know the old stories, but in business, being a pioneer is blazing a trail with something new and bold.
It was a leap of faith. I mean, people were like, a brewery in Utah?
Meet Greg Schirf, founder of Wasatch Brewery in Park City, the first craft brewery in Utah.
I was coming out of this 1974 hippie countercultural environment. A brewery in Utah was so radical that was appealing to my kind of consciousness.
As with the pioneers of old, this modern-day pioneer had to make the trek out west after graduating from college.
My mom took me to the entrance ramp in Milwaukee on I-94, and I stuck out my thumb and hitchhiked out to Park City. I left Wisconsin, which had the highest per capita consumption for beer, to start a brewery in a state that has the lowest per capita consumption of beer. So,
with these odds, starting his business in Park City was the right move to get started.
it had to be Park City. We really did well with the tourists. The locals were extremely loyal.
But Greg wanted to sell directly to the customer. This required changing Utah liquor laws that had been in place for decades.
When we were trying to figure out a way to survive, I went to first the DABC to find out if I could open this concept called a brew pub.
But in the mid-'80s, who would sponsor a bill to allow brew pubs?
There's only one guy, and he's in Price, Utah. His name's Mike Dimitri. So I got his number and called him up, and he goes, "God damn it, they told you to call me. You know, we'll never get a pass, but we'll give him hell, and we'll rock the boat."
But Greg needed more pull at the Capitol.
Glenn Brown, who told me he couldn't sponsor the bill, but he would support it if I could find a sponsor.
A representative in Greg's district, Glenn Brown became Speaker of the House at that time to back Greg and Mike's bill.
That made all the difference in the world to have his support.
Since 1986, several brew pubs have popped up across the state, but it's just not the quantity, it's the quality of beer that's coming out of Utah.
At the Great American Beer Festival in the year 2010, we were recognized as the mid-sized brewer of the year. Utah, as a state, has more medals than anybody else.
In addition to that recognition, Wasatch Beers does over $100 million in sales with distributions in over 20 states.
But that took 20 years to get to that point, so you have to kind of be patient. People will tell me it's all marketing, and I would say, no, marketing is important, but you got to have a quality product.
So Wasatch Brewery has survived and thrived. Greg offers what it takes to succeed.
The hard work part is obvious. You have to have an innate need to survive.
This survivor instinct is the pioneering spirit that kept Greg going and allowed Wasatch Brewery to settle and succeed in Utah. From Business to You, I'm Breck Bolton.